All right, stand by. 10 seconds.
Camera one. Talent. Ready, camera two.
And cue talent.
One.
Roll for record.
Is there a lady cabal in the Democratic Party? I'm John Phillips, and this is The Rundown. Daily Mail U.S. political editor David Marzocco reports a female member of the Democratic National Committee says there's a plot to make sure that Hillary Clinton gets the nomination. He writes, quote, "The Democratic National Committee is clearing a path for Hillary Clinton to be its presidential nominee because its upper power echelons are populated with women," according to a female committee member who was in Las Vegas for Tuesday's primary debate. Speaking on the condition that she wasn't identified, she told the Daily Mail online that the party is in the tank for Clinton, and the women who run the organization decided it, quote, early on. The committee woman is supporting one of Hillary's rivals for the Democratic nomination and said that she spoke freely because she believes the former Secretary of State is benefiting from unfair favoritism inside the party itself. So who are these female plotters? Well, we know the powerful chair of the DNC is Florida Congresswoman and obvious Hillary Clinton creature Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who's frequently gone to the laughable lengths to crush dissent and make sure that debates in the nominating process all go Hillary's way. 3 of the 5 DNC vice chairs are also women, including longtime Democratic strategist and former Al Gore campaign manager Donna Brazile, and activist and labor leader Marina Elena Durazo. She's from out here in California. The secretary of the DNC is Baltimore Mayor Stephanie Rawlings-Blake. We're all familiar with her. She was made newly famous, of course, by the race riots that erupted in her city this spring. The CEO is a woman named Amy Dacey. The COO is a woman named Lindsay Reynolds. The chairwoman's chief of staff is a woman. The deputy COO is a woman. The National Press Secretary and her deputy are women, and it goes on. Now, just sharing a gender with Hillary Clinton doesn't mean they're all plotting to put her in the White House. In fact, another woman, Vice Chair and Hawaii Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, was actually disinvited from the Las Vegas debate by Debbie Wasserman Schultz in an unusually public slap fight because she dared to criticize the chairwoman's resistance to more debates. But the specter of a plot at the highest levels of the American political process to give preferential treatment to Hillary Clinton simply because she would be the first woman president is troubling. And don't forget, that was essentially the sole theme of her 2008 campaign, vote for a woman. So here are the questions. Do we believe there's a plot? If so, are Hillary's fellow females justified in doing everything they can to make sure that we have a Madam President? Is that sexist or just dirty pool? To explore these questions and much, much more, we're joined by PJTV contributor and author Scott Ott from his home studio in Dallas, Texas, and here in Southern California, stand-up comic and PJTV contributor Stephen Cruiser. All right, Cruiser, we know with the Democratic Party, affirmative action is something that many of their electeds support. And having the first black president be a Democrat was something they will pat themselves on the back for from here through eternity. They definitely want the first female president. They definitely still are in love with the Clintons. But they're being called out internally. There are members of the party, including Tulsi Gabbard, who we spoke about earlier, who are crying foul on this. Is this something that's going to get them in trouble, or are Democrats just going to fall in line with Hillary?
I think eventually they will fall in line. I do believe that this is actually happening because the second the debates were done the other day, Barbara Boxer crawled out of her coffin and wiped the blood off her lips and started telling Joe Biden not to get in the race and to endorse Hillary right away. And she said, the way she said it was what struck me and made me believe something was going on. She said, "I don't see a rationale for his campaign," which is quite stunning for someone to tell the sitting vice president of their own party that there's no rationale for him to run for president, because generally, historically in America, that's the most natural person to run for president next, is the sitting vice president. So I really do believe the fix is in here. I don't know how much it will undo. You know how the Democrats are. They'll fight inside for a little while, but when it comes time to go to the polls, it's just, you know, they fall in line every time.
You know, Scott, in preparation for this program, I was talking to a friend about this topic, and he said, it's not a female thing, it's a Clinton thing. This is the type of dirty pool the Clintons are known for playing. Your thoughts?
And that could be the case. I'm a little skittish around this story, mainly because it's a one-source story. I mean, if you read the story, basically, it is a person who won't be named behind the scenes, who's a supporter, it says, of another candidate. I'm assuming Bernie Sanders, but it could be anybody. And this person is leaking this information about this private conversation that the newspaper can't really confirm with other members of that private conversation. And so I think that this is one of those examples where opponents of Hillary Clinton are seeding this story in the media. And the media, it's kind of refreshing, they're all too eager to take it up now, because the one thing we've seen over the past several months is that the mainstream left-wing media does not like Hillary Clinton and would love for somebody else to step in. Now, I don't know, Cruiser was right that it's a natural thing to think that a vice president has an edge. However, if you look at the history of Democratic vice presidents in the modern era being able to succeed to the presidency, I mean, it's hard to do it unless your president gets shot.
Here's why I think you're wrong. There is one source, yes, associated with this Daily Mail story. However, there are members of the DNC that have been punished for speaking out against the DNC's policy of having very limited debates, including Tulsi Gabbard, who was disinvited from the Las Vegas debate. Bernie Sanders had to come out and say, hey, if you want a ticket, I'll find a way. I guess I'll find a scalper or something for you.
The DNC denies that, though. The DNC says she wasn't being punished, and she says graciously she did not accept Bernie Sanders' offer, to have one of his seats because she didn't want to cause a dust-up with the chairman. So I just think, I'm not saying that this isn't happening, but as a former journalism student, it's always disturbing to me to see uncorroborated, single-source, anonymous stories being peddled as if they had the legitimacy of one that has multiple sources and is nailed down.
There are other stories that are out there right now about the DNC itself, specifically Debbie Wasserman Schultz, saying that she is one of the most unpopular people right now within the Democratic Party. She is certainly doing a lot of favors for Hillary Clinton right now, but if you don't have to go back into history that far to see her on the outs with the Clintons. She was initially a supporter of Hillary Clinton and was always on television touting Hillary and trying to whip up delegates and trying to help her in the primaries. Then, when it became obvious that Obama had taken the lead in that race and was probably going to be the winner, she was secretly negotiating with Obama to publicly distance herself from Hillary, push Hillary Clinton out of the race, and then become an Obama supporter. Hillary Clinton caught wind of that. They had a falling out. Obama decided to pay her back by installing her as chair of the DNC, but nobody on that side really trusts her. Does she have her fingerprints all over this to try to make up with Hillary?
I think her mere presence and a lot of what you just described really does lend credibility to the fact that the fix is in. First of all, because, well, for the list of people who jumped ship on Hillary and went to Obama at the end of prominent Democrats is quite lengthy, and it would do Hillary no good to not get along with any of them in this election because there were just too many of them. But the reason I think a long-term process, because, the Democrats don't think like we do. They think in terms of voting blocks, and those voting blocks are all ethnic, racial, and gender-based, okay? They don't see people, they see voting blocks. And they've been thinking woman president, woman president, woman president, Hillary Clinton, for a long time now, because in reality, in real politics, Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Nancy Pelosi, after two absolutely horrendous midterm shellackings, would have been gone in real politics in the modern era, okay? The fact that they're still there tells me that somewhere along the line, shortly after the 2008 election, they all decided, okay, it didn't work for Hillary this time, but we're gonna get our first black president. We're gonna follow it up with the first female president, and 99 of the Republicans after that. And that lets me think, just the fact that Wasserman Schultz still has a job makes me think that there was some kind of making up with the Clintons going on long before this.
Scott, this appears to be a flawed strategy, at least to my eyes. In 2008, Barack Obama was aided by the fact that black voters voted as a bloc for him in both the primary and the general election. The same thing happened when he ran for re-election in 2012. I don't necessarily think that women voters will vote in a block like blacks did in those two elections. You look at married women, for example. Married women skew Republican. Single women, yeah, maybe they'll block vote for Hillary, but that's about half of them. If you look at the mistakes that were made during the OJ trial here in Los Angeles, Marcia Clark and Chris Darden made a very tactical error. They wanted to fill that jury with black women because they thought that black women would side with the female victim, Nicole Brown Simpson, and not O.J. Simpson, whose race they shared. But the reality was they voted with their race and not with their gender. And I could see Hillary Clinton have this blow up in her face like a hillbilly's rifle.
Well, yes, watch it there. I'm one of those hillbillies who has one of those rifles.
Yosemite
yeah,
Sam
I think that there's some, that's right, there's some sense to what you say. However, I'm not sure it's as clear-cut as that. For example, yes, Barack Obama greatly benefited from having an almost unilateral black vote, but that unilateral black vote has been the Democrats for a long time. He just bumped turnout, which is great. What really won that election for him was what I'll call the blank voters, the ones who didn't show up, the Republicans who didn't make it to the polls because, for whatever reason, they might have lacked enthusiasm for Mitt Romney or for John McCain or whatever. So I think you're right, though. Women are not monolithic. Women vote like most people vote. They're pocketbook voters. They vote the economy. They vote who they think would make a good leader. If the Democrats are, in fact, conspiring behind the scenes to clear the field, to have only 6 debates instead of the last go-around, they had 27 debates, in order to protect Hillary Clinton, they're making a major mistake in that, first of all, they're insulating her from the trial by fire that's necessary in the primaries to prepare her for the Republican campaign. And secondarily, I mean, yeah, she's a woman, but she's a weak candidate, and they're just hitching their wagon to the wrong star.
Are there Republican women out there that voted for McCain and voted for Romney that are going to switch allegiances this time to vote for Hillary because they want the first female president?
I don't think so. I think her biggest chance with females is young females right now who are getting sold a bill of goods in colleges all over America about her being this accomplished, great diplomat or something. I think that's the best chance. I don't think anybody else. I think most real women look at her and go, okay, she got where she got because she's riding the coattails of her husband and she shut up while he humiliated her. And, so no, I think her best chance for women voting as a bloc is with young college-age women.
Yeah, because partisanship trumps gender. Yeah. When Sarah Palin was the VP nominee, it wasn't like John McCain did that much better with women than previous Republicans running for office.
No, she's not doing well with women in the polls right now. Bernie Sanders is doing better with women than she is at the moment. She's not doing that great with women already. I mean, in the end, she'll pick up a few just because, as I said, the Democrats fall into line. But it's already not a strong voting bloc for her.
Well, and when you break it down even more than that, she's really not doing well with white women. Minority women are supporting her, but white women are voting for Bernie in the primary.
You were one of the first people to keep bringing that up, and it's white people in general, but then I saw 2 mainstream media outlets in the last month run with that idea too, saying, so one of them was Hillary Clinton has a white people problem. I can't remember who wrote it, but if you Google it, it's out there.
All right, Stephen Cruiser, you get the last word. That's all the time we have for today, but now it's your turn. Is Hillary's army of Amazons crossing the line trying to get a female into the White House? Tell us what you think in the comments section below. I'm John Phillips. Thanks so much for watching The Rundown.